don't want to sound rude, but musk is like, it just makes me think of like a man's armpit. Verbal diarrhea. I feel like that's such a horrible phrase. I said that in the other podcast. I'm very sorry. I don't want people to think about poo. We'd turned around, ready to go back home, and that's when Joey was like, "No!" Like he literally like I think he squealed. He was like, "No!" Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. Before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsors of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. Also, newsflash, the new Lemieux colours are now out, so if you want to check them out, be sure to head to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, I am back. It didn't feel that long ago that I filmed the last one because I'm doing a double episode today, even though for you guys it's not a double episode. I'm just filming basically 2 podcasts in one day because I have been very, very busy here, there and everywhere, doing lots of things that I'm going to be talking to you guys about actually. So yeah, since I've seen you last, I've been to 2 sort of different events. And I've been to Scotland. And actually, I don't know what I should talk about first, really. I guess I should probably do it in chronological order. So the first show that I went to was the Longines Royal International at Hicksted, and Longines very kindly invited me to the sort of hospitality bit, and that was very nice. Often when I go to hall shows, especially if it depends actually what I'm doing at the show. Each show is very different. So some shows I go to and they want me to go there to do like meet and greets and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how I'm working with the show to get people to go in that sense. So I do a lot of advertising for the show beforehand and that kind of thing. Sometimes I get invited by brands to go to a show. So for example, when I went to badminton, I was invited by Fairfax and Favour to kind of promote the brand while I'm there. Sometimes when I go to shows, for example with Arken at the World Equestrian Festival, they wanted me to do more of the like social media side things. So like they wanted me to do more stuff like while I'm actually at the show. So like filming a video, doing lots of like reels, social media stuff, stories, that kind of thing, to get more eyes on the show and get more people to kind of hear about it. Sometimes the shows want me to go and to kind of like do lots of promotion for the sponsors there. So all the shows are very different in very different ways. But anyway, this time I was invited by Longines, so obviously I was doing a lot of stuff for them. So that was very nice. Actually, that's how I got onto the topic about talking about why I do all the different shows, because I do get asked quite a lot of different questions about my job and that kind of thing. So I don't know if that was interesting for you guys or not, but because I do have a bit of a strange job, a bit of a weird job. I was at a neighbour's barbecue the other day, and like there were quite a few people actually that kind of knew what I did as a job. I think like people have talked, that kind of thing, and then there are a few people that like were really interested. I don't know, it's one of those things that's a bit different to kind of say what I do, but anyway, back to the shows. Yeah, sometimes I go to a show, and if I'm there like proper working, I'm just there for the show. I'm normally in the media centre, and I either buy like some food there or have like a little Marmite sandwich in the media centre, that kind of thing. So this time was very different. I wasn't on my feet here, there and everywhere filming and interviewing riders and stuff. I was I was living the posh life basically. So I was sitting in the nice hospitality bit, beautiful views, got to watch the show jumping while having a nice meal basically, and then we had afternoon tea afterwards, and oh my goodness, I was stuffed. I didn't have any dinner that night because I was very, very full, but it was lovely. Got to wear a little Longines watch and everything, felt very kind of fancy, so that was a bit of a cool trip. Also, the Great Britain won the Nations Cup, which is always one of my favourite classes to watch. So that was really good. The atmosphere there was amazing. Everyone was cheering. I think one of the photographers said, I don't know if it was in the press conference afterwards, that like John Whittaker shed like a little tear. I'm pretty sure someone said that, because actually I met one of the photographers that I'm friends with, that I see a lot of different shows and things. I met her, I didn't see her at Hicksted, but she was chatting to my dad there. And then, because my friend Lydia came with me to Hicksted. And then the next day, straight after that, I had a very busy weekend. So that was on the Friday. And on the Saturday, I went and watched the polo. And that's where she told me about the press conference and things, because she was doing some of the photography for the polo. So I was very kindly invited by Hurlington Polo Club to, I think it's called the King's Coronation. I was going to say something after that. Let me double check. Is it the King's Coronation Match Cup? That's it. Okay. It is called the King's Coronation Cup. There we go. And this is actually my first ever, I was going to say it's my first ever polo match. I don't know if that really counts or not, because I've been to one before, but I was kind of in it. That was when I did my Challenge Esme polo video. That was actually my first ever Challenge Esme video. So there we go. That was back in 2020, I believe. So 3 years ago. That has flown by. Oh my goodness. No, that feels weird. I feel old. Oh no, time's going too quickly. Anyway, so I tried polo for the first time there. That day, actually, I remember because Gus, who is one of the England, I was going to say coaches, but he does like all the kind of training, weightlifting, personal trainer kind of person. That's what I actually saw him there, and that was really lovely. Saw him for the first time in 3 years and had a little chat to him. That was nice. But anyway, yeah, so on that day when I did the Challenge Esme video, it was one of the hottest days of the year. It was like 35 degrees, I want to say, which for England, that is muggy, like that is hot and sweaty. And I remember doing all these like physical activity, like workout stuff outside and just like dying in this heat. And there was one point I think I went and sat down, some water in the shade, and one of the guys went to my dad like, is she okay? And I was like, yeah, she's just not very good with the heat and has just done like a full-on workout. So that was a really good fun day. I would love to have another go at polo. It's just one of those things where there aren't many sort of polo places or polo clubs near where I live. Like it would have to be quite a big journey. I feel like if you're going to be part of like a team, you have to be proper dedicated and go regularly, which with my job I probably wouldn't be able to do that unless I kind of became a polo channel, which I feel like I don't know, it's probably maybe a bit too niche. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it on any of my own horses, and got to put my horses first. And I do really enjoy show jumping with Joey, but I feel like maybe in another lifetime, or maybe in a different point in my life, I would love to do more polo, because I had really good fun doing that. Actually, tell you what was really fun, polo cross. That's like lacrosse, but on horses. Similar to, I just found it really satisfying catching the ball. I don't know what it is. My wrist, actually, this is one thing when I did polo cross, my wrist hurt so much for like a day afterwards. And I don't, because when you catch the ball, you kind of have to twist your wrist really quickly so the net kind of encapsulates the ball so it doesn't just like bounce off the net, if that makes sense. So, I found polo cross, I would say, I don't know, because I've never done lacrosse before, but for some reason I picked up really quickly on like picking up the ball, that kind of thing. I think I was just a bit more accurate with polo cross compared to polo. Like polo, if I hit it, I could quite well, but maybe not in the direction that I was kind of going for, if you know what I mean. Although I did used to do hockey at school. Although when I was in the school hockey team and the school netball team, I was always a defender, because I feel like a lot of the time when you think of a defender, you think, oh, that's kind of like the not so good position. But I actually, and when I first became a defender, I thought, oh no, like they put me in the not so good spot, that kind of thing. But actually, I quite enjoyed it, because I don't, this sounds really mean actually, I would, like, whoever I was marking, I would basically stick to them like glue. Like there was this one hockey match, and I remember this girl being so annoyed with me because the whole match she did not touch the ball once, because I was always like in front of her. And like I don't know what it is. I could just like, maybe I just have really good peripheral vision and can like kind of see behind me. But the whole time, I just knew where she was, and I would like, she would always try to do a little like double dodge to try and get out of my way. But for some reason, I was just always in front of her, and she got so annoyed. I don't know why. It sounds bad that I found it so funny, but there we go. I feel like netball actually I used to be centre a few times as well, because I was quite sort of, I was never like goal shooter or anything like that, because I was going to say I was short. I was just not tall, if that makes sense. I don't know, because I feel like a lot of girls at school, in like year 7, we had such a different like height distribution. Everyone kind of started school like secondary school like age 11, and they were like the tall girls, and then they just kind of stopped growing and everyone kind of overtook them. But I've always been like a very middle height, because I'm 5 foot I think I'm 166 centimeters, so I'm like 5'5.5", I want to say, but I always kind of just round up to 5'6", or just say I'm 5'5". It kind of depends how I'm feeling, I guess. Depends if I have shoes on as well. So there we go. I think I'm pretty much 5'6" with shoes on. But anyway, what was I even talking about? Polo. So yeah, I had a lovely time at the polo. That was probably one of the poshest events I've been to. I just kind of looked around and everyone was either very rich, very posh, or somehow were famous or that kind of thing. Like, I don't really know if I should really I don't know if I should. There was one person that was, I don't know if I should really say who they are, because I feel like that's kind of rude, like being like, oh, I saw this person at this thing. But there was a very successful, maybe, I don't know if he really does much anymore, but very successful singer. He was there that I recognised, so that was quite cool. There was also a few, I don't know if it was president or prime minister, I think it depends, but there was like a president or a prime minister of a country, so that was pretty wild. And oh yeah, I took my boyfriend as well, so we had a lovely time. And it was quite Carl, who I'm good friends with from the Knights of Middle England. He was doing all the sort of commentating, and he did such an incredible job of making polo, I was going to say making polo exciting, because it is an exciting sport, but if you know nothing about it, he did such a good job of making it seem like, I don't want to just make it like sound like it's not exciting, because it is, but he did a really good job of just like explaining all the rules and all the things and why it's so technical, the horses are going really fast and that kind of thing. He just made it really entertaining. Like, he does such an incredible job of that, so it was really lovely to see him. Anyway, I took my boyfriend, and at the beginning when Carl was doing this kind of speech thing, he did like a little explanation of what polo is, how it works. He was like, has anybody here never been to a polo match before? And my boyfriend put his hand up, and there were probably only about maybe 5 people in the room that put their hand up, and everyone else, like, this was their normal Saturday afternoon. And then he then said, and then can you put your hand up if you've seen polo before, but you're not like 100% sure of everything that's going on. So I kind of like half put my hand up, and so did my friend Storm, who invited me, because she kind of works for does marketing things, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so that was really lovely to catch up with her. So we all sat on a table together, and then after having a nice meal, we then went outside and watched it. And oh my goodness, it sounds bad, I found it so exciting to watch, and I think it's because I'm so used to watching like show jumping and eventing and dressage, and normally what I watch at a horse show. So to watch something so different and out there, it was just so much good fun, and you kind of had like a team that you were cheering for. And I don't know, if you ever get the chance to go to a polo match, would recommend. It was very good fun. And also, like, the whole time we were like, oh no, it's gonna rain, and then the rain held off, and it was all good. It was great, and it was didn't really rain at all. So we had a great view. Yeah, good time. And then England won as well, so that was even better. After that, me and my boyfriend, we were like, because where it was in Windsor, so we were like, it's kind of like that weird distance where we could have driven home, but it would have been like still like a few hours. So we thought, you know what, we'll make a weekend of it. We'll stay in a hotel for the night. So we actually, because we literally booked our hotel the night before, we managed to get a really good deal. I think we've got it on Secret Escapes. We managed to get it for a really good price. So we thought, you know what, we'll make the day of it. So we stayed at a nice hotel that had like a pool. So we went and used the spa afterwards. So I can't lie, I think the other weekend was probably the fanciest and poshest weekend of my life. Because we stayed in like a nice hotel. We also played... because we were like really getting our money's worth. Like, it included breakfast, it included using the spa facilities, and it also included they had like tennis courts and what's it called, paddleball? Yeah, in the UK we call it paddleball, but I'm pretty sure in America you guys call it pickleball, which always makes me laugh. I don't know why, it just sounds really funny, like pickleball, like it sounds like you like play tennis but with like a little pickle. I don't know. But anyway, it's basically the exact same. Well, I'm going to say it's the exact same as tennis. It's like somebody saying dressage and show jump are the exact same because they involve a horse, but they're definitely not. But I'd say it's very similar to tennis, even though both of us didn't really know what the rules were and were just kind of, playing around. It wasn't like a competitive match because neither of us had done it before. Because we looked at doing it for a while, but they're literally where we live. There are no, like, I think the nearest places are like nearish London. So I think it's definitely like a fancier kind of sport. And I think, you know, horse riding's fancy. But anyway, so we had to go at that. So it's kind of, like a smaller tennis court with, this is going to sound like really bad because I was just saying how like fancy it is, but the rackets reminded me of the sort of rackets that you use for swing ball. Don't know if that's just me, but there we go. Because both of us have looked into doing it for like a while. Actually, we've been to the other weekend, actually quite a few weeks ago now. This was back when we actually had nice weather in England. This summer, we did some tennis. We went to a local like sort of tennis. We looked around at all the different sort of tennis courts near us, and quite a few of them, they were like, oh yeah, you have to pay like £100 for a year's membership, and then you have to pay extra on top for every time you hire it out. And we were like, we only just want to go down the road and have a little, I was going to say kick around. That's football, isn't it? I'm really good with my sports. Have a little, play around with tennis. But yeah, there was one actually place not too far away from us that we luckily managed to go to. And I think it was only like £10 to hire the courts for an hour, which wasn't too bad if you split it between the two of us as well. So yeah, we had good fun doing that. I feel like in summer, it's always fun to like try different activities or try different things. Like, actually, I was going to say you wouldn't really do tennis much in the winter, but there are quite a lot of like indoor tennis places. There's like a little pod that they have that they kind of like blow up with air where they do tennis in like a nearby town for near us. So that's quite cool. But I don't know, I just feel like in the summer or the summertime, you always feel like more like doing like little new activities or new sports that you probably wouldn't necessarily do in the winter when you just want to be all tucked up in bed under a blanket next to a fire, all warm. So yeah, that was my very, very fancy weekend away. And then on the time I'm recording this, like last week, I was in Scotland. So that was with World Horse Welfare. I went to Belwade Farm for the first time. I actually went to Scotland for the first time. A lot of people were like, oh, how's your first time in Scotland? And I was like, it's really good. Well, it's my first time in sort of living memory because I can't remember if I was 2 or if I was like very, very young. Was I 1? Yeah, Dad says I was 1. Okay, so I was 1 year old the first time and the only time I've been to Scotland. I also have technically kind of been to Scotland a second time because we did like a family trip up to Northumberland and we went to Hadrian's Wall, which is kind of like the wall in between England and Scotland, but it's not like the Great Wall of China or anything like that. Like, it's not like a proper like wall. But anyway, it is a wall, but you can literally like climb over it. Or what I can remember from when I was 10. So we did a family holiday there where I stepped over the wall and walked into Scotland. But that definitely doesn't count as like an actual trip to Scotland because we didn't really go any further than that. So there we go. But yeah, my first time in Scotland in living memory. In that I can remember, I had so much fun. It was also, I cannot believe that I haven't been to Scotland sooner. I feel like I can't remember who we were joking this with. I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, you don't want to go to Scotland in the summer, all the midges come out and that kind of thing. And I feel like that's maybe a way of the Scottish not having all the English come over to their beautiful countryside in the summer and they can kind of just have it to themselves. So I will definitely be going back to Scotland at some stage because it was so beautiful. This is probably going to sound really weird, but for someone who lives in the countryside, but in southern England, for me, Scotland felt like America in the sense of like the roads and the countryside, because where I am, everything's, because it's like nearer London, everything's a little bit more built up. Like you don't really go that far without seeing like a house, or even like me in the countryside, like you'll go down a country lane, but the country lanes are literally like they're similar to the ones in Devon in the sense where the roads are only wide enough for kind of one car to go down properly, and there are loads of hedges either side, and it's really built up, and it's just like kind of farmers' fields. When in Scotland, everything was a little bit more open. There were a lot of really nice like pine trees. I love pine trees. I think they're so pretty. And also just like the landscape, like obviously, we were in the Highlands, we were in Aberdeenshire, so that was really pretty. And you could see all the sort of kind of more hilly mountainous areas, and it was just breathtaking. So the reason why it reminded me of America was because it had like the roads were so good. I don't know what it is where we live, potholes everywhere, roads that are only wide enough for one car to get through. Scotland, there were, roads where 2 cars could easily go through with like cat's eyes in the middle or like a little stripe in the middle to actually show that 2 cars can go on this road and pass by each other safely. And yeah, everything was just so open and pretty, and I had a blast. Also, there was a lot less like rubbish and stuff. I think there's just less people in Scotland, like the population is lower, so there's just, there was less traffic. It was great. I loved it. I mean, it rained a lot when we were there, but to be fair, the whole of July it's been raining in England. Everyone was like, at the meetup, everyone was like, I'm so sorry about the Scottish weather. And I was like, it's fine. It's been raining the whole time in England as well. Like, we're used to the rain too. But, no, I had a great time. And so I did I hadn't even said what I was doing at the Wild Horse Welfare there at Belleade Farm. So we arrived on the... God, I need to get my days right. It's been one of those times where you just lose track of what day of the week it is. I'm filming this on a Saturday. So there we go. But no, I think it was the Wednesday that we flew out. And then I rode a horse called Hatchie, Wild Horse Welfare Hatchie, actually, I think is his full name. And he was taken in by Wild Horse Welfare and then rehomed. And I got to ride him in a demo, my first ever demo, Hatchie's first ever demo, in front of, I want to say, was it 500 people? Or was it even more than that? How much was it? 850. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there were 850 people at this sort of demo. And yeah, my first time riding in front of that many people as well. I mean, technically I've run in front of more people if you count people watching my videos, but I'm talking about real life here. So yeah, I honestly thought I was going to be a lot more nervous beforehand when actually I was cool as a cucumber. I think it's because I know that a lot of horses like pick up on, I was going to say bad vibes. Horses can really pick up on how you're feeling and your nerves. And I rode Hatchie the day before. So I rode him in the indoor and they had this like orange barrier for where like people could stand and watch us and that kind of thing. So I'd never seen that before. So he had a little look at that, but was a really good boy. And also, I haven't even told you what Hatchie looks like if you're haven't watched the video or seen it on my socials. So Hatchie is a 15-2 cob who is 13 years old. He is black and white, piebald, very cute, glorious long mane, and yeah, he was so lovely to ride. Honestly, he was well better behaved than my horses definitely would have been. Like, we even went for a hack as well with one of his Hatchie's friends, Blue, and then we got to go for like a little walk around or a hack around the whole farm, the whole 170 acres of farm as well. And it was beautiful, like the backdrop. I felt like Merida from Brave, like riding this cob in the Scottish Highlands. It was amazing. But anyway, we did this thing where Blue can only do like walk and trot for whatever reason. So they were like, look, go down to the bottom. You can have a little gallop back up to us. And if I did that on, number one, on Casper, Casper he would have napped the whole time. He wouldn't have walked away from whatever friend he was hacking with. He would have been like, no, I don't want to leave them. So that would have been a bit of a struggle. And then also on the way back, if I was on Joey or if I was on Casper, both of them, I would have had little say in the speed that we were going on the way back. They would have gone full on zoomies. I'm going as fast as I can. When cute little Hatchie, he was like, okay, I like trotted first and he was like, okay, I'll canter, and then I gave him a little extra squeeze. He was like, okay, I'll go a little bit faster if you want me to. But it was very much like I could tell he was like kind of like looking after me in like a cute little way. Like he was just like the best boy. He was so good. Don't tell the horse that I said he was the best boy, but like honestly, this horse it's like gold dust. Like he was just so well behaved. Going into an arena as well, luckily the lady who was on the kind of speaker, she did like a little talk about Hatchie, about his journey and why Wild Horse Welfare took him in and that kind of thing. And then I went in afterwards, but before I went in, she was like, please don't clap or cheer when they come in because this is the first time he's seen this many people in his entire life. But yeah, we went in. But literally, like, it wasn't until kind of like the morning of that I kind of knew what we were going to be doing in the demo. Because at first I thought, I'll just go in and somebody will be telling me what to do and that kind of thing. And they were like, no, you're just going to go in with your little Britney Spears microphone kind of on and, just chat away and ride away and just do your own thing on Hatchie. And I was like, oh, okay. That's fine. So I went into what my family call podcast mode, where I just kind of verbal diarrhea. I feel like that's such a horrible phrase. I said that in the other podcast. I'm very sorry. I don't want people to think about poo. But there we go. So anyway, I just kind of just chatted for however, I don't even know how long I was in there. But to be fair, I was quite impressed with how not out of breath I was for riding a horse and talking at the same time. So I just kind of chatted a bit about what I got up to with Hatchie the day before, about World Horse Welfare, about how I rehomed Duke and Duke's sort of rehoming story from there, being a patron for World Horse Welfare, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was a really good weekend. Met loads of you guys too. So yeah, the meetup was really fun. A lot of people actually said to me like, "Oh, have you struggled with the Scottish accent yet?" And I tell you what, it was all right actually. For some, I've probably said this before in the podcast. My hearing is not very good. Like, I do struggle sometimes to hear things, especially if there's a lot of background noise. But actually, it was all good. I no problems with the Scottish accent. Maybe, you know, all those times I've watched Brave, the Disney film. I don't know. I just love it. Like the little scene where she's doing horseback archery on Angus, I'm pretty sure is the name of the horse that she rides. It's Cobb. But anyway, there we go. It was all good. It was a great time. I really want to go back to Scotland sometime. The whole time my dad was like, I want to take your mum to Scotland and have a little weekend away because it's so pretty. And there were no midges, no bugs, didn't get bitten at all. So there we go. Although apparently ticks are quite often, but to be fair, the forest that we go to, if you walk around in shorts in the summer, like, you're not like likely to get ticks, but I'm a bit wary. I think there was once actually I found a tick on Casper after I took him to the forest, and it's kind of like, ticks just gross me out a little bit. I had a tick on my forehead once when I was 8, and I remember like feeling this lump because it was kind of like on my hairline. I felt like that's quite a common place, and I remember feeling this lump, and I was like, Mum, can you just have a look at this mole? Because I thought it was like a mole or something like that. I was like, it's quite big. I've never noticed it before. And she was like, oh, just wait 1 second. I'm just gonna just sit there. Like, it was like kind of that thing where she was like, had to be like calm mother, so to not distress her child. So she was like, just wait there a second. I'm just gonna and then she was like, I'm just gonna get some tweezers to have a better look at it. And I was like, okay. And then she just like did the thing where you like twist it out, and she was like, and then she got it out, and then she like, I don't know, what are you supposed to do with ticks? Like burn them, or something? I can't even remember what she did with it. Like, that sounds horrible. But and then she told me afterwards, like, yeah, that wasn't a mole, that was a tick. And I was like, ooh, that's disgusting. Like, I feel like I'm like, bugs and things like that don't gross me out, but anything that involves like flesh eating freaks me out. Like maggots and leeches, even though that's blood, not... sorry, we're going to change the topic, because if anybody is eating, this is not a very nice thing for me to talk about. So apologies if you're eating your lunch or your dinner or your breakfast, or just having a snack, or even drinking a cup of tea. So yeah, I'll move swiftly on. I don't even... see, I do this all the time. I don't even know how I get onto these topics, but here we go. I feel like growing up with having doctor parents very much, like there are some things where I just forget that it's rude or you shouldn't really talk about those things in the dinner table, because for me that was just normal. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So yeah, had a lovely time at World Horse Welfare, meeting all of you guys. I felt so bad because I can't believe I've been doing YouTube and social media this long and I've never done a meet and greet in Scotland until now. Or I haven't even been, I've been to so many places, but I haven't even been to Scotland, like literally our next door neighbours. So yeah, I literally have been like all over the British Isles this year. Been to England, Scotland and Wales. Oh, another thing that I thought I'd talk about, because it's one of those things where I have known what the new Lemure colours are for, like, I want to say a year at least. Like, I already know what next year's spring summer is, because this year actually they have very kindly given me the spring summer stuff actually in spring summer. Normally what happens is it's like middle of winter, I get all the spring summer stuff come through and they're like, yeah, try and somehow make it look like spring and summer, and I'm just there in like actually there was this one time it was -4. I was up on the hills on Casper, and I remember my dad being like, oh, I'm a bit chilly, and then he looked at me and went, actually, wait, I cannot complain. Like, he was saying, oh, my hands are a bit chilly because he didn't have any gloves on. And he looked at me and was like, oh, she is in like a short sleeve t-shirt in -4 with high winds she's going to be a little bit colder than me right now. So anyway, this year I'm very excited to actually take spring summer photos in spring and summer, although I don't have to give it all back because it's all the stuff that they use for advertising, I'm pretty sure, and selling it to shops like Red Post. But anyway, so sorry, I had to sneak that in there. But yeah, I thought I can now finally tell you or talk to you about the new autumn winter colours. So they always have very interesting names. I don't know why, it always makes me think of isn't there like that furrow and ball colour called like elephant's breath? They haven't had one that weird yet. Actually, I feel like the weirdest one was probably musk. So yeah, there we go. Don't want to sound rude, but musk is like, it just makes me think of like a man's armpit. Is that like a weird thing to say, like a musk? I don't know. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Yeah, the colours for this year are Atlantic, Spruce, and Orchid. Now I'm going to describe them for you because this is a audio podcast. So also, even if you're watching the video version, like it's just my face, like. Anyway, so Spruce is a emerald. Oh, my jaw clicked then. Sorry about that. Spruce is an emerald green, and I've been waiting for this colour green for so long because obviously we've had hunter green, but that's a little bit more of like a yellowy green, I want to say. Like this is a proper like jade green kind of colour, I guess. But it is beautiful. And also, Joey looks very nice in green, so I'm very excited to wear Spruce on him, even though I've already worn it once for our little photo shoot we did the other day. And then what else is there? So also, I don't know when I first heard about this being a thing. I think I was pretty old. I think I must have been like 15 when I first heard this. But some people say that you shouldn't put green on a horse because it's unlucky. But my whole childhood at Pony Club, our Pony Club colours were green. So I was always wearing a green saddle pad on my horses. So I just never kind of thought of it as unlucky. So, I mean, I don't even know how competitive. I feel like there is definitely more Pony Clubs out there that were more competitive than us. But maybe that was just the groups I was in. I was always in like the B team or whatever for show jumping or mounted games. There were definitely other people that did a lot better than me in Pony Club competition. But anyway, so yeah. Sorry, Spruce. Then we have Atlantic. That is I don't even have to describe it. It's like all of the colours are like a little bit more muted this year, which I think is very nice for autumn winter, a little bit different. Blue obviously is a very safe choice. I know that blue is always a very popular colour. I'm pretty sure in my merch, the like baby blue hoodies are the top colour or the top preference. So there we go. Also, blue looks good on anyone, any horse. Like especially, yeah. I'd say I wouldn't even. Yeah. Oh yeah, blue looks good on everything. So can't really go wrong with that. Green also looks good on any horse and any person and any coloured horse. So and then I'd feel like the one that's going to be a little bit more out there, even though I feel like it's not even that out there, it's called Orchid, and the best way to describe it is it's like a cross between a burgundy and a dusky pink. I'd say it's probably more of like a dusty pink, and I think that's really pretty. It looks so nice and Joey as well. I feel like dapple greys always look really nice in burgundies. I don't know what it is. I just think they look very, very smart. Like burgundy is such a smart colour. So he looks very, very cute in that. But yeah, my dad's favourite is the Orchid. I think I'm going to have to say Spruce because I've been waiting for a greeny colour like that for ages. But yeah, let me know which colour your favourite is. I do really like the Atlantic as well, and I think that's going to be such a classic colour that you can just, like, if you've got like a show jumping, I was going to say, not a competition, clinic, there we go, show jumping clinic or a lesson, I think that will look very smart. Like, they're all very smart colours. They're all very, like, traditional colours as well. So there we go. I think they're very pretty. Also, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't said the story yet. So I came back from Scotland. Joey had a few days off while I was away. So I came back. Bear in mind, on that particular day, I woke up at 3 a.m. to get our 6 a.m. flight back to England. And then it was just one of those days where I was like, Joey, I have not had enough sleep to be able to deal with whatever your antics today. So I was like, okay, number one, I washed Joey. Joey does not like being washed that much. What I probably should have done was been like, okay, he's had 2 days off, should probably school him and then get some photos. And I thought, you know what, he's so good. Like, we're just going to go for like a nice little light hack. And he was perfect. Like, when we're doing all the photos and all the content and that kind of stuff and the videos, he was perfect. When everything went wrong, when everything went downhill, was when I was like, normally when we go for a hack, I have someone come along with me, and my dad normally comes on his bike, but because we were taking photos, he didn't have his bike with him, so we couldn't keep up. And I could tell, oh, okay, we'd turned around, ready to go back home, and that's when Joey was like, no! Like, he literally, like, I think he squealed. He was like, no! Like, proper, like, not happy. He really wanted to go on that hack, and I was just, and he, basically had a tantrum. He barely does this. He's done this probably like once or twice in his entire life before this. And his tantrum was him jumping up in the air and bucking out, a little bit like in the Spanish riding school. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Like, kind of like a crow hop with a buck at the end. And I was just like, Joey, I'm functioning on very little sleep right now. Like, this is not good, because obviously I needed to try and get these photos done ready for it coming out this week, and before obviously my trip to Ireland as well, because when this podcast comes out, I will be at the Longines Global Champions Tour straight after the Dublin Horse Show, so there we go. But anyway, so I thought, you know what, I'll just take him on a nice relaxed hack, take some photos along the way. What I didn't know was that if I turned around halfway through our hack to go back home again, rather than go for a gallop across the fields, that he was not going to be happy. So, to be fair, he calmed down very quickly after like maybe 2 or 3 very big bucks. He did calm down very quickly. He kind of did this basically did passage for halfway home, and then every time he kind of went back to walk or calm down, I really praised him and gave him a lot of pats and was like, good boy, good calm boy. And then he went back to walk and was just walked home on the buckle, and was actually a very good boy. He just needed to let me know that actually I'm very upset that I didn't get to go for a full-on gallop across this field that I thought I was promised. So don't worry, I've taken him for a gallop across there since, and he was a good boy. But also that afternoon, I was like, I'm just gonna lunge him. I didn't have enough mental capacity to school him today in the arena and get that energy out. So I lunged him, and he was actually very good. He was perfect to be tacked up for his lunging. He was perfect when we got home. It was literally the best way to describe it, he just had a funny 5 minutes. Just had 5 minutes where he was like, I'm really angry that you didn't let me gallop, and I'm going to tell you that. So there we go. I felt really bad, but he was very good to be lunged. He's been hacked and zoomed across there since, and he was good, and he's all happy. It was just, yeah, I think he got excited, a bit too excited, and then disappointed. So I'm sorry, Joey. We got the photos. The photos look good, and he's all good. Also, one of the reasons why normally Joey is exercised by one of my friends while I'm away, but because we were only away for 2 days for Scotland, I was like, it'll be fine. He can just have a little rest, because he gets ridden 5-6 times a week, I want to say. He's pretty well exercised. I feel like Joey is the sort of horse, the fitter he is, the more energetic he is, which makes sense. For example, when I got him back into show jumping after all his time off with his injury, I was like, oh no, he's going to be too wild, he's going to be too excited, when actually I think he just forgot how fun it was. If I don't do something with if I don't jump him for 2 weeks and I get back into it again, he's not super pumped for it. I think he just forgets how fun it is, and then he gets back into it. It's actually, I'm really enjoying this. It's really good fun. I think it's when he's unfit that he's just less wild. So, but no, anyway, sorry, I'm making out Joey to be this absolute beast of a horse. He literally just had a funny 5 minutes and he's all good now. So, and he's been very well behaved since. So actually, I've got to say, Joey's, I don't want to sound like a little proud mum here, or I'm boasting about my child, but Joey's flat work has come on so much lately. He's doing so well. So I'm very, very proud of him. Very happy. But anyway, I feel like that is enough sort of chatting for one day. I'm sure when I come back from my exciting trip to Dublin, which this is all very confusing. I'm filming this the week before, so I have something because I'm basically gone for a week. I'm gone. Don't worry, all the horses are going to be very well looked after and cared for by my family. But yeah, I'm going to be, I hate going, it's like such a weird thing. I hate going away because I get so homesick because I miss the horses and my family and that kind of thing. But then also, like, I'm so excited as well, and I can't wait to see all of you guys. And I love going to the shows. So it's like a weird kind of feeling. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, anyway, next time I see you, I'll have all my adventures to talk about and all the shows and all the places I've been. So, yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much again to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast, and also a little shout out to my sponsors, Lumiere, as you guys know, when I've talked about all the colours and that kind of thing. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today's, or listening. I always say that. I always say watching. I'm so used to say watching, such a YouTube girl. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!